Welcome everyone. Uh, my topic is about beautiful soup and Python. So, before going to the main topic, you should know about web scraping. Okay? So, what is web scraping? Web scraping is the process of collecting data from internet by using various tools and framework. Sometimes it is used for online price change monitoring, price comparison, and seeing how well the competitors are doing by extracting data from the website. So this is definition of web scraping. Now let's see what is web scraping in a brief. Usually in our daily lives, some websites store more data. If you want to access the data, you have to use the format the website uses, or you have to copy the data manually into a new document. This can be pretty tedious when you want to extract a lot of information from a website. This is where web scraping can help you. Now, okay, you have seen what is web scraping. So it's, if you want it in more short form, it's collecting of the data from an application and converting it into user friendly for example, you can use web scraping to list product names like prices from Amazon onto an Excel sheet. Okay, now web scraping the Amazon product information like taking the prices, etc. Web scraping can be done manually, but software are preferred. They can be less expensive and work at faster rate. But in some cases, web scraping is not a simple task nowadays. Websites come in many shapes and forms. As a result, web scraping can vary functionally. So, web scraping can be done through various websites for social media, for any company information, for global news, for government, for researching some data, for pricing sites, and etc. So these are some basic uses of web scraping. Scraping stocks prices for better investments. Yeah, web scraping can help you in scraping the stock prices. If you take all the stock prices, like if you collect the all data, if you collect the data of the stock prices and place it in order, so you would have a wise choice to invest and a perfect invest. You can do a perfect investment. Now scraping yellow page data that generates some good leads. Now scraping store locator to create a list of business locations. Suppose if you are a store owner and you run it, you deliver products through online also. So if you create a list of business locations, like then through online, so you can deliver your products as fast as possible and as easy as possible. And now scraping product data from sites like Amazon or eBay for competitor analysis. Okay, now product data in the sense, if you are interested in purchasing some good sneakers or good shoes, so first you go check the price in Amazon, you see all the shoes that are in Amazon, and you go to eBay, you go to Flipkart. Instead of doing this much work, if you scrape the data from the website, you could easily place them on an Excel sheet, compare the prices, and go for the best price and best shoes. And scraping sports stats, like scraping sports stats, like if you are interested in investing in sports teams or anything, you can scrape sports stats. And the list of things you can do with web scraping is endless. After all, it's all about what you can do with data you collected and how valuable you can make it. Now there are various ways you can do web scraping. Now we are going to discuss one of the method, which is through Python, and in Python using beautiful soup. Okay, now scrape the with Python's beautiful soup. Okay, now What is a beautiful soup, first of all? Now, soup is a Python package for phrasing HTML and XML documents, including malform markup, non-closed tags, so name after tag soup. It creates a phrase tree for phrase pages that can be used to extract data from HTML, which is useful for web scraping. And
Basic of web scraping. Web scraping, also called crawling or spidering, is the automated gathering of data from an online source, usually from a website, while scraping is a great way to get massive amount of data in relatively short time frames. It does add stress to the server where source is hosted.
so now we are gonna see how to install Beautiful Soup. For installing Beautiful Soup, we need Python Make framework for same for the same, and also some other supported or additional framework can be installed by giving pip command or pip command. Pip install Beautiful Soup 4. Other frameworks we need in future to work with different phrases and framework: pip install Selenium, pip install request, pip install lxml, pip install html5 lib. Quick start. A small code. See how Beautiful Soup is faster than any other tools. We are extracting the data source code from the demo Blaze. For BS4 importing Beautiful Soup import request URL. Now it's a example URL. You get soup, and this is the code: request.get URL soup, like Beautiful Soup, print soup. Now prettify is built in function now provided by the Beautiful Soup module. It gives the usual representation of phrased URL source code. It arranges all the tags in phrase tree manner with better reliability. So, Beautiful Soup was started by Leonard Richardson, who continues to contribute to the project and is additionally supported by TideLeft. It's a paid subscription to open source maintenance. Now, this is the image of Leonard Richardson, and Beautiful Soup was officially released in May 2006, and the latest version of Beautiful Soup was 4.9.2, and it supports Python 3 and Python 2.4 as well. So, what are the advantages of Beautiful Soup in web scraping? Like when you're web scraping, what are its advantages? So, it's easy to learn. Yeah, it's very easy to learn and user friendly also. And help community support to help with issues when they arise. So, there is a community. The document is comprehensive and allows for easy learning. So like the documentation is comprehensive and allows for easy learning. And so now we are gonna see how to install Beautiful Soup. For installing Beautiful Soup, we need Python Make framework for the same, and also some other supported or additional framework can be installed by giving pip command or pip command. Pip install Beautiful Soup 4. Other frameworks we need in future to work with different phrases and framework: pip install Selenium, pip install request,
pip install lxml, pip install html5 lib. Quick start. A small code. See how beautiful Soup is faster than any other tools. We are extracting the data source code from the demo Blaze. For BS4 importing beautiful soup import request URL. Now it's a example URL. You get soup and this is the code request.get URL soup like beautiful soup print soup. Now prettify. This is built-in function now provided by the beautiful soup module. It gives the usual representation of phrased URL source code. It arranges all the tags in phrase tree manner with better reliability and using Python's beautiful soup to scrape data camp tutorial and analysis and importing libraries, determining pages to be scraped, doing the actual scrape, flattering a list of lists, making a data frame and saving as CSV file and reading CSV file. So first one is importing libraries. Okay, so and these are some basic codes which you can import data, like import panda as pd, import nimpy as np, import seaborn as sns, and import re, import time, import date time, and etc. as you can see on the screen. And now determining pages to be scraped. A sample URL that we are going to loop and scrape in the following. It's datacamp.com. As you can see, the URL is displayed, and arguments change for the each page. In order to loop through all the pages to get the necessary data set, we need to find out the number of pages. The following lines of code just do that. Like the given URL is displayed and the HTML URL open and the soup pages in the last page. Now the illustration is as follows. Specify the URL to a variable. Open the URL using unlopen using URL open which was imported earlier. Scrape the specific page and assigned it to soup variable. Identified all hyperlinks on the page using list comprehension and filtered for those having community tutorial pages. The text value of the last found URL is the last page that need to be scraped. And we proceed by declaring the list variables that will hold the scraped values for the columns we intend as mentioned earlier. Description, upvote, author, publish date and title. And now doing the actual scrape. Now that we know how many pages we need to scrape, as you have seen in the previous slide, there are 12 pages which need to be scraped. There are 12 pages. So now we know how many pages we need to scrape and have declared our variables. We will now use a loop and go through each page one by one to get our fields of interest as shown below. Note that we will end up having list for each column of interest, but later we will be flattering the list further so that it can be used for data frames. Now you could see this is the code.
Okay. Now, here's what's happening in the above code segment. Set the URL to a variable. Open the URL using URL open, which was imported earlier. Scrape the specific page and assign it to the soup variable. Identified and extracted values for description, upvote, author, publish date, title by using their relevant class names. These class names were found Rising Developer Tools. The time function has been used to be easy on the website this time. Flattering list of list. Since the values we got are list of list, they will now be flattered using the following code segment. Description flat, upvote flat, author flat, publish date flat, title flat, publish date formatted. Okay, now the last statement in the cell above converts the data values which are currently in string form to date time, making a data frame and saving as CSV file. So the list will now be grouped into a dictionary and a data frame will be created for further analysis. The last command saves the data frame to a CSV file so that it can be used later on. Now, reading CSV file. Now we are attempting to read into the collect. Now, here is the code datacamp.shape 1756. The above commands tell us we are dealing with database with a data set of 176 rows and 5 columns. Datacamp.head. Now, conclusion. In this tutorial, we have managed to achieve the following, like scrape tutorials list across all pages, create a data frame, save it as CSV for later references and analysis, explode it using pandas and matplotlib along with some transformations. Use linear bar, stack bar and scatter plots to visualize. I hope this gives a head to start many of us in exploring this and more data sets in a similar fashion. Beautiful Soup is a great tool for extracting very specific information for large unstructured raw data, and also it is a very fast and handy to use. Thank you. And the PowerPoint presentation is by Jay Varshit, CSEB section.